Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. At 89, Robert Redford finally talks about Paul Newman. Robert Redford was born Charles Robert Redford Jr. on August 18, 1936, in Santa Monica, California. He grew up in a regular family. His mum, Martha Hart, drew pictures for work and taught him to love art. His dad, Charles Robert Redford Sr., worked as a scientist mixing chemicals. This helped Robert stay balanced between being creative and being practical. Growing up in Southern California, Robert got to see the exciting culture there and the magic of Hollywood movies. This made him dream about acting and making movies someday. Robert's school days were really important too. He went to Van Nuys High School, where he loved acting in school plays and trying different kinds of art. After high school, he went to the University of Colorado, where he first studied how to design buildings. This showed he was curious about lots of different things. But Robert loved acting more than designing buildings, so he decided to become an actor instead. He went to study at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City, a really good school that taught him how to act. The teachers there saw that he had natural talent and could become a great actor. Robert started acting on TV and in small movie parts in the late 1950s and early 1960s, but it was in the late 1960s and 1970s that he became a real movie star. His big break came in the movie Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid in 1969 when he acted with Paul Newman. People loved watching them together, and Robert became known as a charming leading man who was both tough and classy. Robert played the Sundance Kid really well. Critics loved his acting, and he became a new kind of American hero, someone who was rebellious, thoughtful, and charming all at once. He then acted in more great movies like The Sting in 1973, All the President's Men in 1976, and Out of Africa in 1985. These movies showed he could play many different kinds of characters in action movies, dramas, romance movies, and political thrillers. Robert Redford didn't just act. He also became famous for helping other filmmakers. In 1980, he started the Sundance Institute, a group that helps independent filmmakers who don't have much money make their movies. This led to the Sundance Film Festival, which became the most important place in the world for independent movies. Lots of directors, actors, and writers got their start there because of Robert. He wanted to help new people tell their stories in different ways than big Hollywood studios. Robert also directed and produced movies. His movie Ordinary People in 1980 won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and he got nominated for Best Director. This proved he was really good at making movies, not just acting in them. In the mid-1980s, Robert kept showing everyone he was one of Hollywood's best actors. He starred in movies like The Natural in 1984, where he played a baseball player named Roy Hobbs. Robert made the character seem both strong and vulnerable, almost like a legend that people could believe in. Around the same time, he was in Out of Africa in 1985, a big romantic movie based on a true story. This showed Robert could play complicated characters in beautiful, sweeping stories. Robert also started directing more movies during this time. He directed The Milagro Beanfield War in 1988, based on a book by John Nichols. This movie was about community, corruption, and cultural identity. It showed that Robert could tell stories about important social issues, not just entertain people. In 1992, Robert directed A River Runs Through It, a movie about family that starred Brad Pitt and Craig Sheffer. The movie was about family relationships, loss, and the beauty of nature. Robert made the movie look beautiful and told the story in a poetic way. Critics praised how sensitive and artistic his directing was, proving he wasn't just a great actor, but also a great filmmaker. 2 years later, in 1994, Robert directed Quiz Show, a movie about American history and moral questions. The movie was about the 1950s quiz show scandals where popular TV shows were rigged to get better ratings. It criticized media ethics, corporate influence, and how people lost trust in institutions. By making a movie about such a controversial and smart subject, Robert showed he was willing to tackle complex social issues through movies, while also showing his skill in balancing drama, character development, and historical accuracy. Robert, kept both acting and directing throughout the late 1990s. In 1998, he both starred in and directed The Horse Whisperer, a movie that combined an emotional story with beautiful shots of the American West. The story was about healing for both people and horses. This let Robert explore themes of trauma, recovery, and how nature can help heal people. His work on this movie showed his unique ability to direct himself while keeping the story together and emotionally real, making his reputation as a filmmaker even stronger. In the 2000s, Robert stayed active both acting and directing. He starred in the 2007 political drama Lions for Lambs, playing a university professor in a story about politics, media, and personal responsibility. While acting in this movie, Robert continued to show his lasting charm and seriousness. In 2011, he went back to directing with The Conspirator, a historical drama about Mary Surratt and what happened after Abraham Lincoln was killed. This showed his continuing interest in moral complexity, justice, and historical stories. The next year, he combined his acting and directing talents again in The Company You Keep in 2012, a movie starring Shia LaBeouf. Robert both directed and appeared in it, skillfully handling themes of political activism, secrecy, and personal responsibility. This proved that even decades into his career, he was still a dynamic, multi-talented force in Hollywood. On August 9, 1958, Robert Redford married Lola Van Wagenen in a private ceremony in Las Vegas, Nevada. This started a long and complicated personal partnership that would last for decades. They chose Las Vegas for the wedding because they wanted privacy, and Las Vegas was already famous for quick, discreet weddings, even in the 1950s. To celebrate, with family and friends in a more intimate and traditional way, they had a second reception at Lola's grandmother's house on September 12th of the same year. This let their close relatives join in the happy occasion and make special memories. Robert and Lola had 4 children together, each with their own unique life story and connection to their father. Their first child, Scott Anthony Redford, was born on September 1st, 1959, but sadly died at just 2 and 2 months old on November 17th, 1959, from sudden infant death syndrome. Scott was buried at Provo City Cemetery in Provo, Utah, leaving lasting grief and tenderness in Robert and Lola's lives. Their second child, Shauna Jean Redford, was born on November 15th, 1960. She became a talented painter, showing the same creative abilities as her father. Shauna later married journalist and author Eric Schlosser, forming a partnership based on intellectual and cultural interests. David James Redford was born on May 5, 1962. He became a writer and film producer, following in his father's footsteps by working in the creative world behind the camera. Sadly, James died on October 16, 2020, leaving behind a legacy of storytelling and artistic dedication. Their youngest child, Amy Hart Redford, was born on October 22, 1970. She became an actress, director, and producer, continuing the Redford family's influence in movies and theatre. Together, the Redfords have 7 grandchildren, each representing the continuation of the family line and Robert Redford's personal and creative legacy. Even though Robert and Lola were deeply connected through their children and shared experiences, their romantic relationships slowly drifted apart over the years. Neither Robert nor Lola ever publicly confirmed a formal separation or divorce, keeping their evolving relationship private. However, in 1982, the prominent entertainment columnist Shirley Eder reported that the couple have been very much apart for a number of years, showing that the marriage had effectively ended personally, even if not legally. Almost 10 years later, Parade magazine reflected the confusion about their marital status, stating in 1991, "It is unclear whether the divorce has been finalized," highlighting the couple's continued privacy and discretion about personal matters despite Robert's public fame. On July 11, 2009, Robert Redford started a new chapter in his personal life when he married his longtime girlfriend, Sibylle Sagars, in a ceremony at the fancy Louis C. Jacob Hotel in Hamburg, Germany. Sagars, a talented artist herself, had moved in with Robert in 1996, sharing his home in Sundance, Utah, and becoming an important part of his personal and creative life. Their marriage showed a mature partnership built on mutual respect, shared interests in art and culture, and a deep understanding of each other's lives shaped by decades of experience and previous relationships. This marriage later in Robert's life showed his continuing desire for companionship, love, and stability, highlighting the human side behind his public image as a legendary actor, director, and philanthropist. At the age of 89, Robert Redford, one of Hollywood's most lasting and famous figures, finally opened up about his decades-long friendship and professional partnership with the legendary actor Paul Newman. Robert's thoughts offer a rare and intimate look into how deep their bond was, a connection that went far beyond movies. In his comments, Robert didn't hold back, speaking honestly and with the kind of insight that only comes from a lifetime of shared experiences and mutual respect. Paul was the kind of person who made everyone around him better, Robert said, remembering the effortless charm and humility that Newman had both on and off camera. He described how even when Newman was super famous, he never let success change his sense of humanity or generosity. Robert's words show not just admiration, but a deep personal love that speaks to the rare kind of friendship formed under the pressures of Hollywood and the collaborative world of filmmaking. Robert also thought about the unique dynamics of their professional collaborations. "We had this unspoken understanding on set," he explained, detailing how their mutual respect let them push each other creatively, while keeping a light-hearted friendship that made long shooting days feel easy. He remembered the countless hours they spent talking about character motivations, making up scenes on the spot, and challenging each other to make better performances, not for awards, but for the love of the craft itself. These memories show the deep artistic connection that made their collaborations not only commercially successful, but also critically respected. Beyond work, Robert spoke of the personal impact Newman had on his life. "He was more than a friend. He was like a brother," he revealed, talking about the personal support, advice, and quiet encouragement that defined their decades-long relationship. Robert's words suggest that their bond was a rare mixture of companionship, mentorship, and mutual understanding, the kind of friendship that goes beyond ordinary social connections and leaves a lasting mark on one's life. Finally, Robert expressed gratitude and nostalgia, emphasizing how Newman's influence went far beyond their own lives and careers. "Paul taught me that success is measured by kindness, integrity, and the impact you have on people," Robert said, emphasizing how Newman's legacy is not only about movies, but deeply human. By opening up at this late stage in life, Robert has given fans, historians, and fellow actors a treasured window into the life of one of Hollywood's greatest duos, a testimony to friendship, artistry, and lasting respect that continues to resonate decades after their first shared scene.